like to show you how to attach the Blueview multi-beam imaging sonar integration skid to your Pro 4 remotely operated vehicle submersible. We're going to show you how to remove the ballast skid that's already on there, put on the new integration skid, and plug it in and make sure it's all ready and connected for you to open it up and use sonar underwater. So the first thing we want to do is flip the Pro 4 upside down on our flat surface, preferably with no skid, so we don't fall on the floor or anything. The first move we want to make in removing the current ballast skid on the Pro 4 is to remove the strain relief wire here. So it's simple Phillips head screw that we want to take apart from the skid. Alright, make sure we get that, keep that little screw kind of in the wire there, because we're going to remount this on the back of the Blueview skid when we get that on. Alright, so there's 4 screws to take off the current ballast skid on the Pro 4. There's 2 on the rear here and 2 on the front, so it's pretty simple. They do have some nylon spacers underneath them, so we want to make sure that they either stay in there or they get transferred over to the Blueview skid. So these are where a power screwdriver comes in really handy. Alright, so see the little spacer came off with that. That's fine. Just going to make sure it transfers over. Sometimes they stay in the dome ring here, and sometimes they come off, but just make sure one gets underneath. Okay, that one stayed in. You can pick them out if you want to, if you have your needle nose pliers there. Alright, we're going to repeat on the front, 2 more here. Okay, simply remove the ballast skid here and set that aside. You might want to, keep this handy to transfer any weight you might have in here into the new skid. You will have to reballast the sub once you have the new skid on. So I already had some screws in here. Let me get rid of those. Alright, your Blueview should be delivered, already put together in the integration skid. So you have the head, and then we have a ballast skid here that's similar to the one on the Pro 4 that accepts the ballast weights, and we're going to show you how to do that after. And it's got a modem that's potted into the bottom. That's part of the electronics of the sonar that feeds data to the surface. And we also have our 9-pin accessory whip, and we'll show you how to plug that in. So this is very similar to installing the basic ballast skid. These holes will line up just like they do with the normal ballast skid. We're going to use the screws that we took off. Make sure those holes are lined up. Make sure you have the threaded nylon nylon spacer underneath there. You don't have to crank, just get these started. Just started there. Same deal on the back, find the other 2. Alright, and again, like anything else on here, you don't have to crank down the screws impossibly tight. Alright, the next step here is to connect our strain relief. And I have those number 2. Alright, so forget what I said about keeping that screw on there. I've forgotten that there's a longer one that comes with the Sonar skid. It's because it needs to reach back a little bit further. So we're going to replace that smaller screw with the longer screw, and you're going to see right above the Sonar head where it says Teledyne, Blueview, and white here, there's another thread hole, and you're going to get that back there. Okay, so now your strain relief's good. Alright, so now we want to connect the 9-pin accessory whip to the sub. Alright, to do that we're going to have to remove our float block. Alright, remove the 9-pin accessory dummy plug. If you haven't seen the video on the dummy plug and the importance of it, please watch that. It'll be on this channel as well. We're going to put the 9-pin whip from the Blueview imaging sonar into the back, and you can see that this Blueview whip is one that can be daisy chained. So you can use another accessory with it, like a manipulator. So this is going to follow the same rules as not having a dummy plug in here, or something to terminate the end of this and keep water out. You either have to put the dummy plug back into the Blueview, or if you're using it with a manipulator, since the manipulator is a terminated one, it's the end piece, you're going to go ahead and put that on. So there's always something covering the 9-pin ports, no matter what. So with the Blueview, again, you can daisy chain and use multiple accessories with this. Just make sure the end one is the terminated one, or you have your dummy plug and you can stick that in the back there. So that's how that should look. And we'll keep going with this one. If you want to install the manipulator, if you just have the Blueview, you can stop here. But I'll show you how to put the Blueview clamp on this skid as well. So with that, we're going to remove the dummy plug. I'm going to reinstall the float block. Okay, flip it over again. Alright, and you'll see in the bottom of your Blueview skid there are four holes, threaded holes, here and here. That's for your manipulator clamp when you're using the Blueview. This is our manip clamp too. It's like the regular one, except it's a little bit larger. It's the same kind of clamshell design. There's a flat end that's going to go flush against the bottom of the skid, and then a top clamp that's going to go over top of it. So fairly simple. There's only 4 screws to this. We want to grab our manipulator, line up those first 4 holes, and the same deal with this. You're going to pull it in there until that little ridge. I suggest you watch the regular manipulator installation video first, so you'll understand a little bit more about what I'm talking about here. Slide it in until it catches that little ridge, and then straighten her out. Line up your threaded holes, clamshell on top. Now this one will be flush as opposed to the regular manipulator on the regular skid. So these ones you don't have to worry about cracking any of the plastic from screwing down too hard on each side. Alright. Okay, so get those lined up. So one final step is to complete the daisy chain in the back to plug in the manipulator 9-pin whip here. Alright, so that's kind of a final look there. And what it should look like. There's just the one clamp. Alright. So again, remove our float block. So ensure it's correct. Alright, so this is going to complete our chain in the back and make sure that everything is sealed so there's no possibility of water getting in and shorting anything out back there. So, and again, if we weren't using the manipulator, we would have to seal this with the dummy plug that's in our kit. It's very important there. Alright. Put your float block back on, and now you have multi-beam imaging sonar with the ability to grab and retrieve objects from the bottom. This is one of the more popular setups for law enforcement personnel, the government, military stuff is the sonar with the manipulator arm and the Pro 4. This is probably one of the best tools that we have, this combination here. You can see in low visibility, grab stuff if you have to with the power of the Pro 4 thrusters. So that's the installation of the Blue View integration skid and the manipulator arm working together.